Hello.
We start here technical session one offline. The theme of the technical session is green and sustainable agriculture. Ramachandra Bhajo, Dev University take over the seat on the dais as chairman of this technical session. Yes. Secondly, I would like to call upon the Chair Dr. Shivasundar Mahanti, Associate Professor, Department of Applied Analytical Economics, Utkal University, Bhubaneswar. Sir, please take over this charge. And the co-chair of the session, Dr. Manoj Kumar Das, Associate Professor, Department of Economics, Nalanda University, Cuttack. Now, rapporteur of this technical session is Mr. Dr. Sam Kalak, lecturer in economics, Vinayak Acharya College, Bharat, Punjab, Odisha. All of you, please request to occupy the chair on the dais. Now I request students please present who came to our dignitaries. Now I would like to request Nirmala Madam, Dr. Nirmala Madam and Dr. Saxena Madam, please have open to our dignitaries.
Very good afternoon, friends. Technical session is a very important session on a very relevant topic, green and sustainable agriculture. We have with us keynote speaker Professor Aditya Kumar Patra. I would like to request Professor Patra to set the tone. Bring out the broad contours on which this discussion should go on. So we'll start with Professor Patra, then we'll have presentations by researchers, paper presenters. We have 11 papers.
20 now. Okay, no issues.
See, so paper presenters have 3 minutes to make a presentation. And if needed, we can have more discussion during question and answer session, and also during lunch. Informally, we can have discussion over questions. So I'd like to request Professor Bharat to make a statement.
Good afternoon, one and all. Co-chairperson, delegates, and student friends. Sustainable rural transformation, the Bharat 2027. This is a buzzword, so to say. Nowadays, it is a buzzword. How it genesis and what occurs and what is the situation at present, what would be our objective. We shall just briefly discuss about it. Just within 5 minutes, a lengthy slide is there, but I will not go in detail. Rather, I just to point out the things. See, what is the background in which it is prepared during the election campaign? First, the concept is mooted by our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, Viksit Bharat. It is a vision. Point out that it is a vision initiated by himself by consulting different stakeholders of the society, which is a four objective: your economic growth, social progress, environmental sustainability, and good governance. A lot of things have been discussed in our inaugural session, which becomes formalized by our finance minister Sitaraman. That through budget, we will emphasize to achieve these things by Garibi, Mahilaye, Juba, and Ananda. What is the objective? Objective is to develop the economy,
In fact, a lot of things have been occurred. What has been achieved, that is not emphasized. Whether a new thing is imposed, whether the thing will took its right turn or not, that is the matter of discussion. But we will not enter into that area. Rather, our focus is to have the development. Against this background, the rural transformation, which is a very important segment of the society. So the quality of life for all, more specifically the rural poor. Viksit Bharat for all, but basically for the rural poor. And this includes initiative to improve infrastructure, support for agriculture, improve housing, women empowerment, economic stability and financial security, promote digital capability, and combat climate change. All these things are combined together to have a Viksit Bharat at 2047. The same thing is also emphasized through your the Sustainable Development Goal, which is an international decided objective, is to achieve by 2015. It is a 15 years goal that is to achieve 2030 and 17 goals, 149, 69 targets. And basically two things, that is the objective of this Viksit Bharat, is a better future for all, including people living in rural area, and particularly aims to eradicate poverty and hunger, no hunger and zero poverty, to ensure no one is left behind, even the rural poor and the unprivileged section of the society. Since rural area is an important this segment, therefore it is highly emphasized. It is clear from this slide. So the thing is that need of this rural background is to increase the agricultural productivity of farm employment. Farm employment is not sufficient enough, rather of farm employment and access to services, particularly water, energy, infrastructure. And next is improve influence. The more power means better say in the life, even at the grassroots level, gram panchayat. Concern rural people generally migrate from rural area to urban area. Many reasons have that. Push and pull factors, you all know about these things. I will not go detailing. The same thing, it reminds us the Pura concept of our former president of the country. The Pura providing urban amenities in rural area. The same model. The four things emphasized here: connectivity, physical, electronic, economic, and knowledge connectivity. The same thing is emphasized here in a new form. Come to the basic thing. Agriculture is the mainstay of the society, but the proportion of people's engaged and the returns to the society, there is a mismatch. On the one hand, a large section is engaged, but the contribution is very poor. How to bridge this gap? Therefore, higher productivity and better post-harvest management. That is a value addition. We have to give more emphasis on that. The essential thing is that value addition and quality of agricultural production. These two things are very important to have a better agricultural background with more productivity, more contribution, so that on the one hand we have more less production but more mouth to feed. How to bridge this mismatch? Many challenges are there. Particularly the challenge hinder agricultural productivity, crop health, and overall output. They also contribute to yield variability, increased cost, reduced efficiency, and vulnerability to market conditions. Therefore, we have to have a different approach. To counteract this, many programs were initiated earlier. Now it is substituted to two things. One is your promote sustainable agriculture, that is Krishi Vikas Yojana, Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, and second thing is Krishnamati Yojana, that is addressed to food security and agricultural self-sufficiency. On the one hand, we have to produce more. On the other hand, we will not have hunger. That is the basic objective. In addition to that, most popular program, that is the PM Kisan Samman Nidhi, just to have a support to the farmer, how to increase their meet their expenditure inputs. Many schemes have been prepared by government to uplift the farmers, such as your Pradhan Mantri Krishi Samman Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Kisan Man Dhan Yojana, and many other things are popular measures adopted by government to have the retain the people's in agriculture sector. The new trend is shift towards agricultural technology, technical based. Agri-technical techniques setup providing solution from AI driven. Nowadays, AI is very important. Artificial intelligence, crop management, blockchain based upon supply chain management. This is the new area that we can have. But on the same time, we have the agricultural contribution to GDP, which becomes very low, and therefore we have to have irrigation technique and better supply chain. Water crisis, which is the main problem of these two states of Maharashtra and Punjab, and to counteract this, we have to have a water efficient crop and sustainable farming. And the same thing, the crop pattern, we have to have a diversified crop pattern. Unless we have diversification of agricultural sector, it is not possible to manage the traditional pattern, and that is also adopted in some states, particularly in Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh, in spices and horticulture management, and something to direct income support the 120 million farmers through your Kisan Samman Nidhi. These are the certain steps taken by government to boost agriculture sector, to infuse new idea, but to what extent it is really possible? Is it practically things occur? That is the main theme of discussion of the researchers. We have to have an idea, have to have the policy suggestion that whether these things are in the proper direction or we need something other. Come to the infrastructure development. All these things are known to you. Your MG Narega, how it is running. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana to have a shelter for all the homeless peoples. Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, connectivity to the unconnected villages and the rural peoples, and the Din Dayal Upadhyaya Gramina Yojana, just to have a infuse for the skill of the rural youth, and other programs of mission, Antyodaya National Social Assistance Program. All these programs are basic objective is to have better infrastructure facility for the rural village. But you have heard in your first session how the rural village connectivity becomes a burdensome for the rural people. Earlier, there is a road which is though not all-weather road, still it is a connectivity. Now it is another problem, non-maintenance of the road. Therefore, what you have prepared, how it is managed, that is the objective of the discussion or the research, where the fault lies and how to satirize the fault. Similarly, in your water and sanitation, nowadays every village have the water facilities, that water facilities, drinking water facility, or Jal Jeevan Mission. But if you will visit the village in before 8 a.m., you will see how the Jal Jeevan Mission is working. The tap is on, but no one is there, and it has ultimately the end result that you will face the water crisis. How to sell water? That is not explained. Rather, we will provide water. We are going on pressing, and the tap is on. The thing is, the water is running continuously. If you will pull the water from the well, you will feel the pinch of the water. So therefore, how to manage the things, that's more important. Similarly, in your women empowerment, many programs are running, and you know how women are empowered nowadays. Are you ready to have intercaste marriage? Are you given the freedom to the women to manage their own business? Are you ready to have the family to free hand to our daughters to have their choice? It is up to the researcher to find the fault and go ahead. Similarly, your economic stability, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, Pradhan Mantri, many programs, Mudra Yojana, Sukanya Samruddhi Yojana, many programs are going on. But whether the results are reaching at the really people, is it really at the bottom level? Is it works properly? Where there is fault, and that is the objective of this the seminar or the research work. Similarly, the promotion of digital capability. Every village nowadays, so we have prepared the common service center. आजकल जो गांव और देखते देखते हो कौन-सा सोचली जनसेवा केंद्र जनसेवा केंद्र common service center. Everything digitally available. But if you apply for a resident certificate, you know how much time it must take to reach it. So things are been at the doorstep. We will not move to the Tahsil office. Thing is applied, but how fast it is. Good governance. Good governance provides this facility at the doorstep. Okay, it is possible. Now we will not move to the headquarters. Rather at the village level. But it is working properly. The common service sector will provide a high-end broadband. You know how the broadband is working and everything. Similarly, GPS-enabled mobile service, your telemedicine, your telemedicine system is there. Mobile van, how it is working. Things that we have to analyze. Then climate change initiative, though many things have been discussed, a lot of what is going on, but we are not so much conscious about it. Though we may point out that we are facing a severe drought and flood, everything, and unusual, untimely things occur, but though we are responsible, but we are not serious about it. So how these things can be checked on? How we are able to achieve Viksit? So a good number of schemes and programs are on the board to transform rural area from Viksit Bharat. However, enactment of law is not enough. Its working hinges on the people who implement it for whom it is designed. These two things are very important. Who implements and for whom it is designed. A dedicated and committed band of people with a team spirit and vision mode shall do undo. The things can happen. It requires us, those who are at the implementation stage, those who are at the ground level. Is these two parties are ready for it? Have a mindset? Have a mental setup? Are you ready? That depends upon the situation. So, I may conclude with the words of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Progress is rapid and proper whenever there is an efficient administrative setup, a high level of education, and minimum political interference in the development of the activity. Are these things in tune with the words? If the things will run smoothly, we will naturally achieve Viksit Bharat by 2027. Otherwise, we will face the same slogan, Garib Batao, which was started in 1970s, continue till today. Anyway, we will hope for the best. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir. Wonderful presentation, and actually setting the tone for the young researchers for their paper presentation. If we have any question at the end of the session, we can take it. I'd like to request Sushanta Kumar Tarai, Ani Rath. Ani will make a presentation on rural housing as a case for sustainable development, the nexus between people, policy, economy, and environment. Ani, please be very brief. Instead of showing the data, you explain the perspectives or a critical analysis of whatever data you have.
Good afternoon. So, as everything has been told, the topic of our presentation is rural housing as a case for sustainable development, that is the nexus between people, policy, economy, and environment. As we know, housing is not just a welfare motive or basic requirement, but it is also a major driver of economic development. And currently, our India is going through one of the largest housing schemes, that is the PMAYG, rural housing schemes. However, though it is a welfare motive, there is a lot of monetary and social cost associated with it. So critical analysis of the housing scheme may lead to more sustainable development. And based on these, we have done an extensive literature review and identified some gaps. And so the broad objective of our study is to explore rural housing, focusing on the structural, economic, and environment factors, and to identify the challenges. So we have made use of both primary data and secondary data. And what we find is we have basically analyzed on basis of five broad themes. That is, we find in general the rural housing shortage across estimates remains high, higher than urban. And though there has been some improvement in the rural housing scenario, still the proportion of people dwelling in permanent houses in rural areas remains substantially low as compared to urban areas, which shows that there is still a visible rural-urban divide, and despite improvement, rural areas are still lagging behind. And we try to analyze the cost dynamics of rural housing based on the PMAWG models, and we found that there is a broad range of costs across states based on tribal and non-tribal population, etc., which highlight that there is significant impact of socio-cultural aspects on housing. Similarly, we also try to study the differences across states of the major structural cost elements like foundation, walling, and all. And we find that there is also wide variation, which shows that there is a very important impact of geoclimatic conditions on the housing designs and costs. So this leads us to our fourth theme, that is sustainability concepts in rural housing materials. So when we talk to sustainability, as has already been explained, so it is like when we use present resources without hampering the prospects of the future generations, and so that we can have optimum use of resources. So we find that there is larger share of greener materials in case of rural houses, and this is reflected in lower costs and construction costs and higher share of family wealth in rural areas. However, there is a very interesting finding because though rural areas have a higher share of greener materials, but when it comes to carbon emissions, we find that though they have a lower carbon emission on account of material uses, rural areas have a very higher emission on account of machinery and equipment. So if we compare this with the previous graph, here we can see the material user scenario, and here we see the machinery and equipment scenario. So this implies that though they are using more of greener materials, and still they are having a higher emission on account of machinery and equipment, which from which we can infer that it may be on account of carriage vehicles used to ferry materials which are conventional and not greener, like, and which are not locally available, like say steel, rebar, ordinary Portland cement, etc., which are not locally available. So towards primary is Odisha, five geoclimatic zones of Odisha, so we have taken five districts, and so towards Odisha's rural housing scheme for more sustainable path, we try to conduct a sensitivity analysis and find that which are the materials which lead to higher costs and emissions, and we find that it is the conventional construction materials like ordinary Portland cement, steel, rebar, etc., which to which costs and emissions are most sensitive. So we conducted a Monte Carlo simulation analysis to examine alternative scenarios of material use to see what could be the savings we can have if we substitute greener materials in place of conventional ones. And we found that we can have savings up to around rupees 80,000 if we substitute alternative materials like Portland slag, cement, tires, bricks, etc. in place of conventional ones. And as we know that the government gives around 1.2 to 1.3 lakh for a PMAYG house. So even if we are having a saving of rupees 80,000 on per house, so it is quite a substantial saving. And this saving could be used for more optimum allocation of other resources. Similarly, in case of emissions also we found, we can have a savings of around 12,500 kg of carbon if we replace conventional materials with greener ones. So overall, what we see is that the study reflects the diverse economic and infrastructural challenges that the states or the country face while addressing rural housing needs, and the one size fits for all policy is not very appropriate. That is generally the central trivial schemes. So we feel that there is a need to normalize and incentivize the use of greener alternatives, and we also need to empower local governments because local governments are more acquainted with the local conditions, be it cultural aspects or climatic conditions. So while we would like to conclude by saying that while rural transformation is very critical for Viksit Bharat, but rural transformation to be meaningful, there is a need for a nexus between socio-cultural aspects, geoclimatic conditions, market conditions, as well as state policies. So this is the gist of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions can be get ready. At the end of this session, we can have a couple of questions. Not now. I would like to request Srikant Sahu and Dr. Nitin Minister to make
हाँ सर बाहर को निकल सर टेबल का आपसे
Very good afternoon, Chairperson of the Session, Co-Chairperson, Rapporteur, and all other there. And it was for us, the students of our I am Srikant Sahu, BSP Research Scholar from Bharat. I am going to present a research paper on titled Financial Inclusion of Women in Odisha, a socio-economic perspective. It is a paper I have designed under my guide. So first of all, I would like to explain the definition of financial inclusion. It is the accessibility, usability, and the affordability of the financial services to the underprivileged group of our society. How can we give the financial services to the underprivileged group of our society according to the RBS definition? So the biggest challenge is that facing emerging economic is whether the benefits of financial inclusion are distributed to the underprivileged group like our women group and also rural background people to foster the inclusive growth. Like that's why I have taken some socio-economic indicators to find out the inclusivity growth in the women group. And this is my objective to examine and compare the financial inclusion of women in the rural and urban areas in our culture. These are some of the indicators of and this is the methodology I have taken. It is a binary analysis, and I have taken the secondary data from the 78th round, that is multiple indicator survey of NSS, which was conducted during the January 2020 to October 2020. And I have taken as a 10 indicators to find out the you can say how much the women are developed towards the financial to access the financial services through of formal bank account. Right? Uh, as you can say, first of all, I have extracted 11,68,021 samples, but for the purposive sampling, I have taken only Odisha state, and also again I have taken only women proportion, that is the 19,601, and then I have you can say excluded 4,486 respondents because they are under the age group of what 0 to 40, right? That's why I can that's why final I can take 15,115 observations only. Here I give the development, sir. I have to explain this specifications or not. This is my research. As I told that I have taken guided analysis and you can say descriptive statistics also. I have taken 3,867 urban populations, sorry, urban sample size, and 11,248 rural sample size. Here we can see that only 89.50% of urban women populations are financially included, whereas 87.64% of women population are financially included by having a formal bank account, right? And here I have taken some indicators. First is age group. We can we can see that in the working age group, uh, both the regions, the age group of 50 to 30 having largest proportion of women. Also, we can uh, we can see that 68.13 uh, major populations of women are in urban sites, like whereas 70.343 populations are on the rural side. So here we can say that yes, there are currently married women are more financially included in the financial inclusion process. At the level of education, sorry, at the level of education, we can see that when the rural area take into account, not literate women are more as compared to the urban area. That is the 35.42 and also 18.89. So here the major gap of the proportion of population in the financially services accessible during these two regions. Also, so the major part or you can say the highlighting part of my study is that, as we all know that Odisha is a tribal populated state. So the more tribal women are in, you can say rural, that is 81.70%, as compared to the other category, women are financially included. So the policy makers should focus on the tribal population, or you can say tribal uh, women population, to make them some like say aware them to like go and do your bank account, and also like saving करो, તમે છે saving कला તમને તો નિશ્ચય તમારે withdraw કરી so you have to do such financial activity to make our economy grow, right? So that is a major part. And also the uh, their finding is that the Islamic group of you can say rural, in rural regions the Islamic women are more financially included as compared to the urban area. So these are some key findings, or you can say, I have to conclude my paper that yes, obviously there is a gap between the urban and rural, and we have to more focus on the rural part of our society to develop the women, or you can say to make them aware that what is financial inclusion and what is a bank, what is a you can say some investment, right? That how can they save more rather than expense. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Would Sabu will speak on the sustainable waste management. So, please be very clear.
A very good afternoon to everyone. I am Shadani Sahu, PhD Research Scholar in the Department of Business Administration, Bharat. I am going to present on the topic sustainability reporting by trade of technologies. It is a bibliometric report. Before going to topic, I want to explain every corporate houses how the types of reports are. One is a financial report and another is non-financial report. Sustainability report is a non-financial report. It's based on three pillars like because business cannot be isolated. It needs resources from society as well as the environment. So it has three pillars. One is people, profit, and people, profit, and planet. Planet means environment, people means society, and profit means economic profit. So business growth and profit without harming the society and the environment. So the most famous definition of sustainability reporting is given by the Brundtland Commission report, Common Ground report, which is meet the need of present generation without compromising the need of future generation. The objective of the paper to assess the global HR practices, the trend of it means the trend of global practices of sustainability reporting, identify key contributors to sustainability reporting research, and highlight the future sustainability reporting. Research methodology. I use the Focus database for filtering and extract the data. I put the keyword sustainability reporting and filterize the year from 2013 to 2020, and I 883 documents total, and after filterization process, I take yes, sir, yes, sir.
There may be some similar words.
That is the definition of a sustainability reporting only. So I use one keyword sustainability reporting. So 883 total documents, but after filterization process like language English and one time period, final articles. After the filterization process, I take 445 particles in the spread in the sustainability reporting community. It is identified that sustainability reporting research is a positive trend. It is positively growing day by day. Like it is in a burning state. And country-wise contributions. United Kingdom is the most published sustainability reporting research in worldwide, followed by New Zealand and Italy, Australia, United States. And I use the Osgear software for this network diagram. Top affiliating institutions, Ireland University is the 13 document with the highest top affiliating institutions in the area of sustainability reporting practice. And they are the influential authors, the prominent authors in the area of sustainability reporting. They are the most likely developed with 125 sites. Then we have the keywords co-occurrence analysis. Till date, there is from the total highest using keywords is sustainability reporting. After that, global reporting initiative and corporate social responsibility and triple bottom line reporting, sustainability disclosure, sustainability performance. The institutional collaboration. The highest collaboration network is there is a strong collaboration network with the Alia University, which is the most top affiliated is in the area of sustainability. The key themes identified sustainability reporting, central focus with 279 national global reporting initiatives. They are the key themes in the area of sustainability reporting. In the part of conclusion, I want to say that sustainability reporting is really a progressive trend, a positive trend, and there is a huge opportunity for the publications, and it is also help to towards Viksit Bharat, which is the today's theme. If corporation go with sustainability reporting practice, it will definitely achieve the long term success, which is help to Viksit Bharat. Thank you.
Thank you so much. On requirements of climate change awareness among scheduled tribe of households, a logistic discussion approach by Rajasundar. Raghu, please be very brief. Running out of time.
Namaskar to all. So my topic is basically determination of climate change awareness among the human households of our districts. Basically, this study is basically based on climate study. As you know, climate change is most vulnerable in the society across the community, class, and organization. So, simple types are the most vulnerable group among all social groups. So, I have taken these simple types on the basis of climate change awareness. So, these are the literature review, particularly focuses on climate change and simple types. So the objective of this study is basically what are the factors influencing civil type household versus the climate change after climate change populations. And this study area is basically market districts and it covers the two communities of civil types, particularly the community community of Hondas and the communities. So what I have done is the study trans study. What is something I have analyzed. First, go to target district purpose is selected, then selected the block, then village is simple and something, then household as a unit of analysis. So after doing this study, I collected 400 sample size and then after collecting the data, I study one is a study and another is a logistic regression analysis. And as you know, logistic regression analysis is based on the dichotomous view. This is the question form. And these are the logistic regression model for these variables. Also, variables are basically gender, age, education, family size, health status, and all these independent variables are taken from this categorical. So simple logistic. So the dependent variable is either the climate change information is taken. Information is known, yes, or no, not known, then 0, 1. So these are the descriptive study on the housing pattern. If you look at the red color, the culture house is more, and the Pakka house only 3.75%. So we are talking about Viksit Bharat, but look at the tribal area where the still the housing is more necessary. What is the Pakka house? The second one is the drinking water. The more dependent on the basically tubewell water. And earlier they were dependent on the stream water, but now they are dependent on tubewell water. Still there are some places that are dependent on the stream water. And the second one is the cooking well. So in my study, there are 50 to 60% people that LPG gas, but they are not using LPG gas. Only 80% of the household using both gas and firewood, and rest are using firewood and charcoal. The electricity are very much improving now. What is 91% are using electricity in the household, and sanitation facility. 80% people are getting sanitation, but they are not using. All are going, all are not using. Only food. So these are the livestock, what type of livestock? These are the agriculture, informal agriculture collection. Annually, how many households are cultivated? One is paddy. Four are using paddy. There are basically four type of millet are there cultivating. One is ragi and suan and the so basically, this is the logistic. So my result is all in other study because education is very important, it's very significant in climate change information, and also education is linked to the income of the households. So
Your main question is, do you know or do you aware about the
do you know in climate change? Or do you? If yes, one, if no, zero. So the climate change information collected to driver is very difficult. So I collected from the day-to-day activity. How is your cultivation from this year, last year, and last 5 years? On the basis of the discussion, I collected information. So the logistic basically all in other study, which education and income or other are not significant companies. The reason is that the government implementing income generating activity in the climate change activity, which I am not attending. So I simply do not say order logistic is not done here. So the finding what I'm saying is the SDG have been basically sustainable development goal that is climate action. If you want to improve climate action, then the second important SDG is required to improve the particularly for single track community or marginalized community. So these are the SDG 1 to 7. One is poverty, no poverty, zero hunger, then health and well-being, then education, quality of education, gender equality, the affordability of clean energy, clean water and services. These are the most important issues government focus and climate action will be automatically taken. And the next is those who are born in 2020 have go to the again they are not Gen Z. So those who are born now and then they live in a sustainable life. The village in sustainable life. Because there are people of there are the generation of artificial intelligence and all the kind of digital world. So, in the sense, if you improve the 1 to 7 SDG, then climate action will automatically come. So, in the sense, that DPI improvement inclusive growth and sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have challenges of youth employment in India by Vasanthi Sahu. Vasanthi, please be very brief.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Vasanthi Sahu. I have my post-graduation from Uttar University, Department of Analytical and Applied Economics. Uh, Today, my topic is challenges of youth employment in India and no, leave it. As we don't have time, so I can. The topic is challenges of employment and unemployment in India and to be specific in Odisha. So before that, as I'm thankful to Sandhan ma'am and Himandi College for inviting us and I'm privileged to be a participant. Before that, I'm happy to share that I'm a part of Viksit Bharat project. And by Viksit Bharat, can I say it 1 minute in Korea for the student? The concept was given by Honorable Prime Minister PM Modi. विकसित भारत होची गोटे प्रोजेक्ट आज आम्ही जेମିତି ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି ଭାରତ ସ୍ୱାଧୀନତା ପାଇଲା 1947 ମସିହାରେ ତ ଆମ ସରକାର କଣ କରୁଛନ୍ତି ନା 2047 ମସିହା ସୁଦ୍ଧା ଭାରତର ପ୍ରୋଗ୍ରେସ ରେ କେମିତି ସମସ୍ତେ ମାନେ irrespective of caste, color, gender and every kind of disparity ସରକାର ଚାହୁଁଛନ୍ତି ସେଇଟା କରିବା ଲାଗି तो ସେଥିଲାଗି ଆମର ମେଜର ଥିମ୍ ହଉଛି ଯେ ଚାରିଟା ପିଲର ଲାଇକ୍ ୟୁଥ୍ ପୁଅର ଓମେନ୍ ଆଣ୍ଡ ଫାର୍ମର ଆମେ ସରକାର ଚାହୁଁଛନ୍ତି 2047 ସୁଦ୍ଧା ଯୁବପିଢ଼ି ଗରିବ ଆଉ ସ୍ତ୍ରୀ ଲୋକ ଆଉ ଫାର୍ମର ସେମାନେ ମାନେ କୃଷକ ମାନଙ୍କର କିନ୍ତୁ ଅଲ୍ ଲେଭେଲରେ irrespective of poverty ମାନେ ଗରିବୀ ହଉ ବେକାରୀ ସମସ୍ୟା ହଉ ଯୌତୁକ ନିର୍ଯାତନା ହଉ any kind of social disparity କେମିତି कम କରାଯିବ ସେଇଟା ହେଲା major theme of Viksit Bharat. The ideas are to empower Indians in different perspectives like health, education, Nari Shakti, sports, culture, caring society. And I choose youth as my topic, like project, because youth are the energetic and dedicated ones. Like as I also belongs to the youth community, so it is my keen interest to study my group of people, my friends and colleagues. So that is the main motive for that. Current trend of youth employment in India. As of we go through the daily newspapers and TV magazines, we found that there is, even though we are like 8 decades of independence, still there is the main problem is unemployment. Or even though the employed are underpaid and they're not using their skills and education properly, and they don't get whatever they
You can present your findings.
So we find that the unemployment rate is 17.7%. The rural unemployment rate is 10.6%. When we compare it respective to the male female, we find that young women are 21.6% are unemployed age, and men are 15.1%. And then what is the trend? The trend shows youth employment rate, like as I mentioned previously. Then I found something very curious. Like there is a concept called NEET, NEET, which represents not in employment, education, or in training. Like we also belongs to that part. Like I'm unemployed. I'm like even though I completed my post graduation, still I don't get the job, and I don't have that proper training, like which required for getting the job in the unorganized or organized sector. Then I found gender disparity, and if we look at the education pattern, higher education, graduate and plus two Allah, then I found there are 18.4% secondary educated people who are unemployed, 29.1% who are graduates still unemployed, 3.4 people who are not even literate, they're illiterate. In the rural area, we found it. And the data which I am sharing is NSSO data, secondary one. What I found is regional variation. Like we saw the all India based data, I found that Bihar, UP, Jammu Kashmir, Northeast, Kerala, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, there are max unemployed people in comparison to the central one. Then, what are the government schemes? The government scheme are innovation and entrepreneurship, which covers like the different schemes. It can be GM 2023. That means Global Entrepreneurship Monitor 2023. Then the government is giving so many opportunities to the youth. It covers the startups, like 70,000 of startups in India now, as of now. Then there is initiative like digital economy. Okay. Then I come back to implication of youth unemployment. It is I conclude. Okay. I have only this page only now. The implications are like by implication I mean even though we know that unemployed is a problem. So how unemployment is hampering the progress of the country as all like socially, economically, politically, how unemployment hampering. There are 6 points: inefficiency in resource utilization. Then second one is lower economic growth, increase dependency ratio. Like by increased dependency ratio, I mean the poor, senior citizens, the old are not even employed, and the kids below 6. Then skill mismatch. Then fifth, employability, and last one is decrease purchasing power. By purchasing power decrease, I mean if I don't have a job, then I'm unemployed. So basically, indirectly, I don't have money. So it reduces my purchasing power, and I'm unable to purchase whatever things I wanted for. Thank you.
Thank you. Next presentation is Secretary by Karla. Please be very brief.
We know, actually, our country is going towards 2027 because of validation plus. Actually, that's why we wanted to work and taking trillion economy. And particularly, education sector plays a vital role in our country. Actually, students provide employment opportunities in direct or indirect. Just think about the indication of the student travel care. That time we get direct employment from the student sector. You can just think about there is a side shop where we purchase a traveler from that shop. That is the case of your you can say that some indirect employment.
Thanks, silence is phone.
How they do examine the country potential and anticipate the growth of the tourism sector by 2030. This is my conclusion. Future projection of foreign tourism, arrival, domestic tourism, sharing of vast tourism and foreign exchange for significant positive growth by 2047. The foreign exchange will be USD $71.2 billion by 2047, which is less than the Viksit Bharat target. Actually, Viksit Bharat we targeted 3 billion pounds tourism.
Next presentation on synergy between sustainable farming and farmers' livelihood.
Super, super.
So,
खाली presentation is on.
presentations are over. I'd like to request that the co-chair, Manoj sir, and to give brief comments on the overall session. And although we are running short of time, if you have any question. One question.
Madam has some question. You will Sir, have a look.
I think questions should be problematic. If you have any observations, comments, one brief comment you can.
Actually, it is not question. Yes, I want to know what was sample size. Sample size, professor said, its sample size is 400. But I would like to know how many women respondents were there in your study. How many women respondents you have taken?
Yes, you can have a discussion afterwards. Yes, during lunch break, we can have a discussion. Our apology, we actually find it very difficult. So,
Thank you, Chairperson sir. Thank you, Sandhya Madam, for inviting me. Actually, we are running, not running, but actually we are already past all the limits, so it's very, I will not discuss so many things because our rapporteur is also there. He may share some things. Our chairperson is also there. So there were variety of papers. So I will not comment on any paper because we can discuss that on our long thing. But just few days before in our university we were discussing on one important aspect, and one of my colleagues was presenting a paper, and that the question arise there is very relevant here. That's why I will raise that question, and I hope that will ignite your mind to think again on this topic. The question was whether India will be old before getting it rich. Right? This was our question, and we were discussing why this question is relevant in this context. You see, we are talking about demographic dividend. A large percentage of our population are young, but they are jobless, they are skillless, they are, now you can say, many of them are becoming hopeless. And one of our scholar also said here that she is not getting the job. So this is the situation. Now, if this situation continues, can we achieve this particular target? That is Viksit Bharat, right? So now coming to this demographic dividend, it is predicted that India will be old by 2060, right? And the way our India is growing, given its growth rate, it will take 75 years. I am just taking the idea from my colleague and just sharing with you. It will take 75 years more to take our per capita income to the 1/3 of the current USA per capita income. Now, currently, our per capita income is roughly $8,000, and if you look at USA, it is 10 times higher. Now, it will take 75 years to reach 1/3 of USA target. Now, at the same time, our young people, particularly the educated one, are jobless, and there is also skill problem. But if we not focus on that, by 2060, there will be a high number of old age people who will depend on us. So, burden will be again on those who will enter into the job market. So, this is what is the situation. So, given this topic, we have to think on the skill, employment to solve that problem. Otherwise, we'll become old before getting this Viksit Bharat or becoming rich. Thank you. We can discuss
I don't have anything more to say. It's already too late. But I want to mention one point that a lot of contradictions are there as far as policies are concerned. We should not be very obsessed about the growth targets when we are measuring growth in terms of GDP. There are other ways of looking at things, as rightly mentioned by Krishna Kumar sir. We should have a holistic approach towards development, and that is what the goal of all policymakers, all researchers should be, to look at things from a holistic perspective. Thank you very much. If there is an announcement, sir.
Ready for the delegates in the side room, and all the students, you are required to go there. Huh?
We can come back for online session. Online presentation.
Thank you.